Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother is the only intrinsically comedic character in the show. The rest of the gang are simply too normal, too usual to fuel a comedy series, but when mixed with Barney, they become acceptable and even funny. Ted is kind of cheesy and over-controlling. He's obsessed with finding the one, he's looking for love of his life, and he only really cares about his perfect imaginary future life. But that is the only extreme part of his persona.
Yeah, nothing hotter than a guy planning out his own imaginary wedding, huh?
Actually, I think it's cute.
But you're clearly drunk. One more for the lady!
Robin is really not that interesting and perhaps even somewhat shallow. Her character is inconsistent, and at the end she makes a full circle and takes on the role of Ted's love interest again.
Not likely. I'm focusing on my career. I'm done with dating.
Lily and Marshall, while amusing, are mostly sweet and adorable rather than comedic.
Barney, sit down. You need to hear some stuff.
What? Is she upset or something?
Of course she's upset. Take a look at yourself, you dumb slut.
So it is Barney Stinson who is the only inherently funny and comedically successful character in the series, and we will examine why that is the case.
Have a Bangtoberfest t-shirt! I'm back! Have a Bangtoberfest t-shirt! I'm single again! Sorry about your eye!
First, let's take a quick look at the character creation. Barney appears to be a combination of many tropes. On one hand, he is initially the playboy type, a Casanova focused on getting laid. At the same time, he has a somewhat tragic backstory, appears to be a pathological liar, but remains incredibly gullible in vulnerable areas of his life.
I'm sorry, but your son can't be on the team. He's terrible.
What'd Coach say, Mom? He said you're simply too good to be on the team. It's not fair to the other boys. But that's okay. We can just play together in the backyard. Why didn't anyone come? Oh, you know what, dear? Apparently there was a mix-up with the mail. I just got this letter from the Postmaster General.
Dear Barney, I sincerely apologize for losing all the invitations you sent out your 8th birthday party.
He would rather believe that he is also black like his brother than face a more difficult truth to accept, namely that his mother was not being perfectly honest with him about important aspects of his life.
Look at us! It's like 3 of the same guy! Oh my god, this explains why I was always so awesome at basketball.
Yet he will ultimately show his sweet side when he will forgive her and learn to appreciate what she was trying to do when she was bringing them up as a single mother.
Barney.
It's okay, Mom. I don't need it.
But it's your father.
So Barney is an almost grotesque mix of total cliches. He should be boring, he should be disappointing, and yet he is the most liked character in the entire series. His adventures or misadventures are also the dynamic engine of the show. As viewers, we get to see his soft side and his sophisticated social persona, only to learn at the end that ultimately it is the former that is the true Barney. So Barney invents challenges and sets himself ridiculous goals. He also explains openly his theories about women, life, and frankly anything else that comes to his mind.
Actually doing things gets you fired. In fact, I'm writing a book on this very phenomenon.
Really? You're writing a book?
No, that would be doing some... Are you even listening?
Barney is just brutally honest about what he is after.
Hang on to this girl, Ted. Hang on to her and never let go.
The most important comedic technique that accounts for why Barney Stinson is the funniest character in the series is the reliance of the show writers on total exaggeration. Now, exaggeration involves taking a behavior or a belief or a situation that has a grain of truth to it and making it so extreme it becomes ridiculous. Exaggeration is not always funny in itself, but it definitely opens door to developing polarity, which in turn will generate great comedic opportunities. A complete exaggeration of every trait, behavior, and attitude is exactly what makes Barney Stinson stand out. The best example of this is his obsession with suits. This unlikely commitment to an item of clothing was so well developed that by season 5 it became viable for the writers to base an entire episode exploring the premise of what would happen if Barney needed to get rid of his suits to sleep with a hot bartender. But the unique aspect of Barney Stinson is that anything he does is exaggerated. His adherence to rules of the playbook and the bro code is extreme.
But I think I broke a much higher law. The bro code.
For many years, we had heard Barney quote the bro code, a list of do's and don'ts for all bros.
Equally, his cover-up stories, even his apologies, end up being memorable because they are so much more than is needed.
I'm the guy who keeps a scrapbook of all of the women I have slept with, but I never thought I was the guy who would sleep with a girl and not even remember her. So from the bottom of my heart, for whatever I did to you, I apologize.
As a result, Barney is more memorable than Ted, Robin, Lily, and Marshall, but also he is more likable. I hope you are enjoying this video. If this is the case, please consider leaving a like. It only costs you 1 click, but it means a lot to me. Also, more videos on comedic tools behind most hilarious TV characters are coming, so subscribe if this is something you are interested in. Another comedic technique used in How I Met Your Mother is the use of double meanings. Barney in particular really enjoys playing with double meanings of words. Sure, in his case, anything can be treated as a sexual innuendo, but because of the way his story was written, it is acceptable and even amusing, despite being plainly stupid.
As man mastered technology, the hottest profession of the day evolved. I'm pretty sure it's a hernia. Can you check again? And so hot women put on high heels and became stewardesses. Whew. I am in the upright and locked position.
There are many examples of cheap verbal double meaning jokes and puns when it comes to Barney, but typically Barney uses sexual innuendos to insinuate or imply that something was different than what the other person meant.
Sir, I suppose there is a way I could, get you off.
The comedic quality of Barney is further developed by slapstick comedy. Slapstick comedy is a humor based on physical violence, whether it is intentional or accidental. Now, in case of Barney Stinson, slapstick comedy mostly revolves around slaps giving and its aftermath. When will Marshall slap Barney and how will he do it?
Ooh, classy touch, dude.
Too bad! Barney, put it away!
I will in 5, 4.
You can slap him.
What? Wait, you
Ultimately, even though the physical violence is rather occasional, it adds an interesting spin to Barney. Often characters based on the Playboy trope will also rely on their physical strength to intimidate others and win fights. However, in case of Barney, it is the opposite. He is careful, far away from machismo, and he's more obsessed with the quality of his suit than the size of his muscles. The way this type of comedic tool is used in How I Met Your Mother is that a scene is staged where a purposeful and an exaggerated act of violence will occur to Barney, who will be the victim, in a way that is either surprising or exactly expected, and both of these generate laughter. Importantly, adding some slapstick comedy allows the viewers to peek into Barney's flaws, and this makes him more relatable. He too ends up on the losing side occasionally.
That's 4!
A recurrent comedic tool for Barney is the flawed plan. The flawed plan device starts when a character shares a plan that to his mind is perfect and will go ahead smoothly. However, from the point of view of the audience, the same plan is obviously going to fail, it is flawed.
Here's what I would say about the dishes if I were Lily's husband.
Barney, you're home! Sweetie, are you gonna wash that?
I'm glad you bring that up. No. And here's why.
Typically, Barney will present a seduction idea or a plan to achieve one of his ridiculous goals, and that plan has many extreme holes in it. However, Barney appears to be oblivious to them even when other characters point them out. The comedic effect is usually achieved if the plan goes ahead and Barney, as expected, fails, or when he succeeds but with a twist. Importantly, the flawed plan is communicated usually at the beginning of the episode, and we see its outcome towards the end.
This is my move, called the Naked Man.
In the Naked Man episode, Barney tries to convince Ted to do the Naked Man trick with Vicky on their upcoming date, while in the meantime he himself will attempt the Naked Man.
The Naked Man is bigger than me and Robin. All these years, I have been busting my hump with my secret identities and my tricks and my gadgets. I'm like Batman, but this Mitch fellow, he's Superman. He just rips off his clothes and he's good to go.
But as it turns out, Barney will be the only one to fail in his attempts and will be forced to leave an apartment of his potential date naked.
You! Get out!
I have to grab my suit, it's very expensive. The
Get
tile.
out of here right now!
Right.
Get out! You sick son of a bitch!
Call me.
So he will end up roaming streets naked, trying to get home. Not only that, but embarrassed and having to hide from others, he will come across some cheap suits on a rack outside, but wearing any of these suits is beneath him, so he will continue walking. Another technique often used in How I Met Your Mother is repetition, combined with surprise. Barney relies on a series of repeated one-liners that elicit easy laughter because they're expected and predictable.
I'm, wait for it, in, wait for it, love, wait for it, with, wait for it, and always will be legend, wait for it, Dairy! My wedding is gonna be legendary!
But all of these can be subverted and made into a surprise. Let's have a look at how one of them can be subverted to make us laugh due to a surprising outcome.
This party is legend, wait for it,
How long do we have to wait for it?
I think he's having a stroke.
This is part 2 of Comedy Dissected, where we take a deep dive into what makes a character or a series funny. If you want to suggest a show or a favorite character, drop a line in the comment section below. Thank you for staying until the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed it. Barney Stinson is a well-constructed support comedy character. His success is based on 3 key aspects. So first of all, the character development is based on polarizing opposites. Barney is a gullible child, but also he's a ruthless liar. Secondly, Barney develops philosophy for his absurd behaviors that is so obviously flawed it makes you laugh.
to the place where the possible and the impossible meet to become the possimpable. If I can leave you with one thought, it's this: nothing and everything is possimpable.
Thirdly, when placed in a show with characters that are milder and more generic, Barney shines like a real star and pulls the rest of the crew into interesting and amusing adventures. Surprisingly, Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory, originally auditioned for the role of Barney. Now, personally, I find it difficult to imagine how Sheldon could be Barney. After all, Patrick Ian Harris received multiple awards for his role in the show, including a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. Moreover, Barney has been the most popular character on the show, and his comedic behaviors continued to amuse viewers. The episodes of How I Met Your Mother attracted between 6.5 to 13 million viewers, and I think a vast majority of those were due to Barney's colorful and memorable character development.